everyone, this is AlphaAli. Welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone's alright. So today I'm doing a gold VOD review of Squiggle, or obviously Shinning on Twitch. They basically saved up 10,000 channel points in order for me to do this VOD. And once again, you can do your own on like Twitch basically. You just have to save up the 10,000 channel points. I do them live on stream and then afterwards they get uploaded to YouTube afterwards. Just so you have like a permanent kind of thing of like, you know, the VOD, just in case you want to like go back and just quickly rewatch something or listen to a thing that I've said. This is a gold VOD review and we're using the Wing Victory skin. I'm not a massive fan of the skin, but it's still quite cute, so we'll let it slide. But yeah, so looking at the comp that we have ourselves an Ashe, a Tracer, a Ramattra, and a Bap. So obviously our main blue beam target is going to be our Ashe. Bap does the same amount of healing, so we don't need to really worry too much about healing. But obviously, once again, he's amazing to damage boost. Don't be afraid to damage boost him. Ram's really good when he's in his Nemesis form, like for the punches and stuff like that. And if obviously Tracer's nearby. So looking already, I would personally be staying with your Ashe here. This is just purely because Ashe will do a lot more, like, better damage. Usually the Ashe would, like, come up here and play kind of, like, on this bridge. She came down here for some reason, but still, you should, like, be playing with her. Sadly, she ends up getting headshot. Can't really do anything about that, sadly. But I think just, like, a little, like, thing in your head, just try and stay with your main blue beam target for the start of fights. I'd also be looking to kind of like res her here as well, because especially when she gets headshot initially, she is still like around a nice corner and you had your Bap with you. I would have maybe tried to go for a res there, but it's all good. Just be careful with your super jumps, because obviously you know this, what's it called? You know this Widow is here. Okay, this Widow is kind of like getting on your wall. I love this escape though. Okay, so at this point, I'd be looking just to come down here and just meet up with your Ashe, right? Because so in this like whole scenario, I think what you did was fine, kind of playing around the cover and stuff like that. And I think after like a couple of seconds, you realize, oh, they do have these like hit scans and stuff, and you were playing like quite close to the ground, which is really, really nice. Obviously backing out. I love this one of like going up onto the high ground to avoid the the Ryan, which is really good to help your Ram. Sadly, he ended up falling, and now instead of like just kind of like looking about like this, like in my head I will think, is there an escape route or is there a way for me to get out, right? So we're gonna see what you do, because I just back off with Ashe here. Yeah, perfect. And you can just go sit with your Ashe now. Still help her though, because she'll like still be wanting like to peek, maybe get a pick off before the team fight starts. You're in quite a safe spot here. See, Ryan's coming and you've heard it, which is great. I just back off. Yep. But then damage boost to try and like get people out, which is perfect. And then damage boost on your Rams here, like kind of fine, because obviously you'll get this like poke damage out. I don't think you're gonna be able to res the Ashe because of what's it called. Same thing. I think you realized it then, where it's like you absolutely do not want to be peeking the high grounds at all at any point. Okay, instead of doing a super jump here, because this puts you quite vulnerable, you should be looking to see whether you can dart yourself into here and play around here with your Ram, or you just do a really long slingshot, because it was like here, wasn't it? Just do a really long slingshot, get around this corner with it, and then carry on pocketing your Ashe from here. Which I feel as though you'll do now. Yeah. You kind of just do like one very like unnecessary step. Obviously, nice peel back for your Ashe. Still keep an eye on your Ramattra, remember? Yep. I would have here. This is the point where instead of being with your Ashe, you want to be with your Ramattra. And the reason is because you've seen this Ryan kind of pin in with your Ramattra and stuff like that. And obviously, the Ramattra is going to focus the Ryan here. So here, you want to be damage boosting him to try and like get rid of him quickly. And then go back to your Ashe. But it's all good. Same thing, like, you should like be kind of like, you should be aware that obviously you have these hit scans now and stuff. So instead of just walking out in the open like you are right now, you'll want to be hugging these walls as much as possible, playing under here. I'm just playing like this cover as much as possible, because at the moment, like, even if they're not here, that Widow could just grapple up on you and headshot you like instantly, because, you know, I always say Widow is broken like that, you know, where she could just like grapple up and just bam, you're dead kind of thing. Whereas if you've already positioned yourself like away in this cover for the entire like team fights and stuff, then it's a lot better. So where's your Ashe? Yeah, so I'd be still trying like to push up with people here. So where is this your Ashe? Oh yeah, so your Ashe is just about to like coach gun up. She isn't looking too great, but like she's gonna obviously like go and coach gun up. You want to be taking this advantage and trying to get these like kind of like late pickoffs and stuff with your Ashe and your Baptiste up here, right? Because at the moment you're kind of like stood AFK on point, not really doing anything. Your March is fine. Your March is just what's it called, like vibing about on this point. He's just like, you know, dum de dum. You should be up here with your DPS right now. If your Ramarch needs help, that's fine. You have Valk ready and stuff like that. So it means that you can use those extended beams literally like from all the way like over here to like help him if you need to, because he'll like push it around a little bit more. But it's all good. See what damage boosting now. I want to take like a wider view of this fight because I do want to know what happens to the rest of your team. Okay. This kind of comes back to the positioning generally from before, because I think in this scenario, there's actually no need for you to Valk here from the position you're in. If you were over here, where I said, like, you should be playing, like, with your Ashe and stuff like that, and then your March starts to engage in, I would have Valked and stayed over here, right? Because it means you can stay out of LOS of the Ashe, you can pocket these two people, who are obviously going to get your long-range damage, and you can also help the Remarch from over here as well. And then if needed, you can obviously GA round and, like, play around here and stuff like that as well if needed. But I think Valking just here, I think is a bit of a waste of a Valk. I like this damage boost though. I would have left the healing there personally, because what's it called, you don't need to. Lovely peel for your Ashe though, and obviously staying in the immortality field. Great, love it. Nice. Okay, so I'd be looking to like see wherever my Ashe is going now, and also still keep a really good eye out on this, right? Because people normally like to either come in and take the fight from here, or you'll have flankers, usually like some kind of hit scan, normally like to play around here and like try and spam you out, and if they haven't noticed, sometimes they'll come up and flank you on the high ground, right? So still kind of like be wary of this. What I quite like to do, especially while the robot is still here, you can still stand up on this high ground up here, and you can still pocket people from over here, because you don't need to be on the point here because you have your team. So you can just like stand up on this high ground, blue beam them like around here, and then if it starts like pushing forward more, you can blue beam from up here. This high ground Esperanza is so nice. But we'll kind of see what happens. Yeah, can you see the Hanzo kind of like peeking you now? Lovely pings though, I will say. Nice. Still staying on the point. I like how you tried to go up and help your Ram there. That's fair enough. I just try and keep an eye on your Ashe's health bar still while you do that. With that super jump, instead of just like going up in the air like you did, I would have looked to fling into like one of these windows, or used it to get yourself up onto this high ground. It's the same thing again, where it's like you're super jumping up in the air to position yourself. And as the great Neandra would say, use super jump to reposition, not as a position. As in, don't use it to position yourself up in the air. Use it to reposition yourself into a better place and a better scenario. All right. I'll go back to you now. I'd be looking to kind of like head up onto the high ground. Perfect. Is exactly what you've done. Lovely. See, this is what you should have been doing for this entire thing. Standing up on this high ground and just playing up here. Try to pick like the safest possible place that you can assist your team from, because it's so good. Sadly, Shins are getting picked off. Nice use of cover here. You're kind of like in the enemy backline now. Yep. Lovely position in here. Alright, we're going to see what happens now. So we're going to push him with Ramartra. I like this. In this scenario, do not heal him here, right? He's on a flank. He is way above his like HP barrier for like maybe dying, right? Stick a blue beam on him. You did the right thing, especially with this this what's it called, Sojourn, right thing, like damage boost all the way. Keep this damage boost on because it will help eliminate both of these DPS, and instantly this should be a one team fight for you guys because all you have to do is get rid of the supports and the tank, which should be pretty easy to do. So damage boost here. You end up all peeling for him, that's great. I'd be now looking to try and get back onto this high ground. And the reasoning is because, what's it called? You're pretty much like in the back line now and you're in like a bad spot. Which is exactly what you do, which is perfect. Nice dodge on the shatter as well, because obviously you were playing in the right spots. I'd be using this Valk here still to push this damage boost. With Ramatra and with like, the examples what is Sigma, they have kind of like this shoot, reload kind of thing. Or with, obviously, Ramatra, it's like punch. And then he kind of like takes a break from punch and then punches again because it's obviously you can't be like pew, 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 you know, you can't be like punching 24/7. With these kind of characters, try to look out for them for like damage boosting their actual like fire, right? So when this, for example, like with the Ram, when he goes into punch, that's when you damage boost, and when he kind of like pulls it back a bit before the next punch, that's when you want to heal him up, and then when he goes for the next punch, damage boost again, right? It saves you from basically standing here with this healing on him. Remember, you have this BAP to heal him as well. And with Valk, I would really look for pushing the damage boost in Valk. Specifically with like the healing nerfs as well with like Valk specifically. Valk is a lot less impactful, so you have to like basically use it how like you normally like, you know, how you would do back in Overwatch 1 and stuff, where it's just use it for the extended beams and everything. So I'd be looking into damage boost a little bit more here. Okay, this is very risky. I know like you did the nice little twirl and everything. This is still a very like risky res. I would have personally just stayed with your team here. I would have personally just stayed with your Ramatra. Maybe kind of looked up here. If your Tracer kind of goes back in again, I would have looked to damage boost that. But this, you kind of like just went in blind, just expecting the res, right? Remember, this is a one-shot hero. This hero can just go pew on your head and you're dead instantly, right? It's just kind of practice for like, you know, climbing really, where it's just, you know, if you get up into higher ranks, these Hanzos are going to hit those headshots like consistently. Obviously, Moira is not really that much of an issue. Like, if it was just the Moira, I would have said, yeah, go for it kind of thing. Like, perfect. And as long as you have like an escape route, that's fine. But because you have this Hanzo here, it's about kind of like before going in, you have to really assess that situation, alright? But still, nice res and all. Dragons. We've ended the battle, which is nice. Nice, and we end up finishing the team fight. So I think, overall, you shouldn't be up here, by the way. Like, whenever it gets to, like, pushing the payload, don't be kind of, what's it called? Don't be, full on, like, we need to push it, right? Remember, the payload isn't everything. Like, I know the payload, and, like, you know, I think in all the maps now, they have, like, payloads, apart from, obviously, like, control, which is obviously the objective, right? But I'm gonna say objective because it's probably easier. But like the objectives are not like your be all and end all. Specifically as a support player yourself, they aren't your be all and end all. What you should be doing here is you have so much time left in this bank. There is hardly any like a disparity and stuff like that. So I'd personally you just have to hold back and let your team push it instead. You do not need to be here because then it saves you from being peeked at by the Sojourn, because the Sojourn will see someone else from your team first before seeing you. All right, so I'd stay back here. And even if you are in that scenario, you've just done a G8 into them as well. If you do end up in the scenario, just keep on walking around and then just like play your cover like this and damage boost someone that can help. So for example, in this scenario, I'd damage boost your Ramatra because obviously you want to play away from her, or you kind of like realize it and then come back here and play. But we'll end up seeing what happens. Same thing, like you just don't need to be pushing this right now. That's getting out of the way. Okay, you got yourself killed here, I'm gonna be honest, right? And the reasoning is because, like, you did once again, you did a super jump that you don't need to. It's like, what happens? You were up here, and you're like, pockets of the Ramatra, great, awesome. To stay with this Ramatra, Just walk over here. You can either, if your beam is still on him, you can do a wall bounce where it's you keep the beam on him, and then you kind of like get a wall in between, like obviously like in between the beams, kind of like block off the beam. But you can still GA to people here, so you can boom and then GA over and then play over here. You did this kind of like super jump here, and then just like left yourself out in the open and then drop down in front of her, right? In this scenario, I think if you completely just avoided that super jump, you would have stayed alive here, and you would have been able to help out your team a little bit more. So, I think overall so far, it's generally your kind of... It's not so much positioning, I think it's more that you're not staying with your Ashe and you're not damage boosting the right people a lot of the time, right? Because, right, your pings are really good. Your damage boost and healing, is the majority of the time, is really, really good. Apart from, like, there's like a few scenarios and stuff where it could be better. I think it's mainly, like... It's your positioning where it's, like, it's caused by you not really knowing where you, like, who you need to damage boost, basically. But I like your position here now. Obviously, we did the, like, random super jump again. Once again, it's unnecessary. Don't need to do it. Where did Tracer die? Is she, like, contesting? Okay, I'd be up here, personally here, pushing with this Ashe, right? Because it's the same thing. You have this BAP helping here. You don't need to also be with your Ramattra here. You can stay up here and help this Ashe win this duel, right? Because currently, the enemy Ashe doesn't have the Mercy with the Ashe. If you have a Mercy with your Ashe, 9 times out of 10, your Ashe is going to win this duel. 100% of the time. Sorry, not 100%. Like 90% of the time, your Ashe is going to win this duel. The reason is because as soon as the dynamite slaps on either one of these two, you can out heal it. She will not have it until the Mercy comes back from spawn. And also, this has extra damage amped and stuff like that. Like I believe a damage boosted Ashe headshot does 195. But people can easily just do a headshot and then unscope and then shoot again, which pretty much counts as like a one-shot pretty much. So you should be kind of like with your Ashe here. Alright, but we'll see how this plays out. Plus, you'd be in such like a nicer, safer position if you were up here too. Because, sorry, I keep on pausing it, but like, if you just played back here, or even just on these stairs like this, and just peeked it like this, because then it means that you can obviously peel for your Ramattra if you need to, but at the same time help your Ashe. Your Ashe has such a good sight line of Hanzo and Mercy over here. And also, well, obviously if the Ryan puts up his shield, you don't really have like a good angle. And then it'll also protect the Moira. But she can see over this Ryan shield and shoot these two in the back, right? But, see what happens. I like this positioning though, where like you go up into that room. See this Ryan coming in, perfect. Same thing, random super jump you didn't need. You just, I think here, if you wanted to, you should have like GA'd round to like play kind of like around this cover here to play with like your Ashe or something, or like play with your team. But it's the same thing, it's like random super jump into the air that you don't really need. Try and like think about where you need to GA to, alright? Love the damage just on your Ram. Nice. And then you kind of like have to obviously damage boost this Ram. I feel as though you should have tried to go for the res on this Ashe right the way back here as well. Because I remember like when I was saying you should position yourself like around here, I would have gone to res the Ashe to kind of like help push this forward. Because she's going to have like such a long spawn now. And also you had like the opportunity to res her. Obviously GAing away from the Sombra, which is great. Lovely heals from your Bath as well. What's going on here? Okay. Here. So what did we do? We rotated back, which is great, as you should be. But you did once again, you did one of these like super jump upwards, and then it's kind of like you were going back again to go and help your tank. Go and help your DPS here. You have this Mercy in the back line. If you stick a damage boost on this Tracer, she can vary, because Tracer can obviously one clip anyways, but if you stick a damage boost on it, it makes her so much easier for her to be able to one clip this Mercy. Because if you get this Mercy now, it should really, really help with pushing this into the, like, you know, pushing this fully in. Because what do they have as ult-wise? They only have shatter. And as long as you stay around a corner and stay away from the shatter, like round here or something like that, then you're fine. Okay, we'll see what happens. Obviously playing away. Obviously staying out of the way, which is perfect. You stayed out of the way of the shatter, which is really, really good. Okay, once again, random super jump. Playing against Sombras and stuff like that, like this. Yeah, you can save your GA for them and stuff like that. And if you can, GA, because when you're hacked, obviously they'll do extra damage to you and stuff like that. What you want to do here is you want to GA up here and then come up and play in this room, which I think is what you were aiming for. But instead of doing just a crouch super jump up, you want to do a angled one where it's like you use like the jump button instead. So what you do is you GA, angle yourself, jump, and then play into here. And just leave it a second. Just let your health regen, let the hack wear off, and then you can start re-peeking like this to help out your team, alright? Because it's unfortunate you end up dying with Valk too as well. Because then I feel as though you could have like helped Valk and like stable the team fight out a little bit more. Dash falls, which is fair enough. Romacho gets 2 with his, what I consider very broken ultimates. Oh, your BAP is so sweet coming for you again. I feel as though here you could have saved the Valk to last a little bit longer if you didn't do the super jump upwards again. If you just did a slingshot to get yourself closer to the Romacho and damage boosted him here, and then you can like go for this. I think you can go for this res here. This is your tracer, right? Yeah. So what you do is like you slingshot yourself in, play with your Romacho for a second, and then decided I'm gonna Valk, get in and res, which I'm hoping you're going to do. It looks like you're going to. Okay, I would have just gone for it. Same thing, like you have your bat pocketing your Romacho here, you can just damage boost here. Like you have this thing of like panicking where like if he like loses like a little bit of HP, you have to like heal him. When with Romacho and with tanks just in general, if they get below like, say they get to like 75 HP, still damage boost them. Like, you know, it's just gonna help them out so much. It's gonna get more damage boost in. You have this BAP as well that's been doing a great job of healing and stuff, so it's all good. Obviously get boots. Lovely slingshot. I like that slingshot away. It's not your job here to go and like try and help this Romacho. It's like your BAP's kind of job here, and obviously he kind of like walked out of the immortality field and everything, so it's all good. Just kind of like just play back and work on damage boosting these like other people, like your Ashe for example, who was here and everything. Because I'm gonna be very honest, it feels like you've only touched your Ashe with the damage boost like once, and Ashe with a damage boost is really, really broken. Obviously we go for the res, perfect out of cover as well, which is great. Obviously we're backing off. In scenarios like this, especially because they have this Sombra, just be trying not to spam this, like, spam your GAs very much. Especially with like this longer GA cooldowns and stuff like that, you either want to be going in and cancelling it, so it gives you the 1.5 second cooldown, or you just want to not use it at all and just walk. Because if you're like constantly like using these like backwards GAs and spamming it like this, especially for like short distances, it puts GA on like a massively long cooldown. So then if the Sombra comes and like, you know, comes for you, especially if she like tries to shoot you before hacking you, then what's it called? She's gonna easily like pick you out and stuff. But lovely use of cover. I would have GA'd in to rotate round there, but it's all good. This is what you should have been doing for this entire thing, I'd just say. Staying with your Ashe, damage boosting this Ashe. Which is what you're kind of doing like perfectly. Nice heals. Unfortunate, he just got absolutely melted. Lovely GA out. Oh, that's unfortunate. Lovely. Honestly, I cannot fault you on like your escapes or like you're like if you're not in a team fight, like the majority of the time your movement is very, very good. And like, you know, like how to escape, and you know how to like, you know, safely get out of these team fights, right? It's about applying that knowledge into like actual team fights itself. In the scenario where you got hacked, didn't you, as well, right? In this scenario, when you kind of like got hacks like this, I'd honestly just stay with your BAP. Because if you're close to the BAP could easily just hit you with his shots and stuff like that. And then you can like GA up onto here if you need to, like just crouch down here or something. That's all good. Very nice damage boost on the Ramatra. I don't mind you pushing the robot a little bit here, to be fair. Going to heal your Tracer, which is perfect. Okay, now you want to be taking this high ground with your Ashe. In a second, we'll see what you do though. Okay, sorry, I got a notification off someone from my family. I'm gonna have to like just rewatch this. I'm really sorry. The colours are gonna get flipped. So as we said, so obviously here you want to be playing up on this high ground with this Ashe. This is gonna give a really good like powerful angle up here. Okay, if you were up with your Ashe here, this is like such a safe position for you. If you literally just play up here, it means that you're not like, you're so close to this grab here. You're like nearly in pull range of here, and if this Bastion focuses on you, especially if this Ramatra comes out of his like, I can't remember what the form's called, but he's, you know, this like punchy form. I would, what's it called? I would literally just look to play up here with your Ashe for this point and just play up here, because then you can kind of like peek down like this and assist the Ramatra if you need to. Okay. Obviously we focus on damage boosting. Instead of like flicking yourself up and around like this, you can literally just back out through here. Because I feel as though, especially with this Bastion in his like turret form, because if you GA in front of a Bastion in turret form, it is so easy for them to track you, because you're literally, all you're doing is kind of flying in a straight line. Like for example in here, obviously you're gonna like GA upwards like this, so they could just go boom, like this, you know? And then we pop like 3 ults at the same time, alright? I know you like just get your Valk, you think, I need to Valk, right? I'd like still wait off a second, because I don't think Valk is necessary in this fight. I think you need to play with your Ashe up here still, and play up here. And then use these ults, because you never ever want to use both support ults at the same time, because I think support is, the majority of support ults are like broken. Like Nano, Window, debatably Rally. I mean, obviously I know they made it like worse and stuff, but apparently there's like some bugs with it and stuff, which they haven't fixed yet. Obviously Beat is really impactful. Trans is really impactful. I'm unsure about Life Weavers at the moment, but it seems quite good, to be fair. Like the majority of support ults are like fight changing, like literally game changing. Like Kitsune Rush as well. Sorry, I forgot to name that one. That one is broken as well. Not as much anymore, but like, you know, you get my point, right? They're really, really strong ultimates. You never ever want to use both of them at the same time. Yeah, obviously your Ramatra uses his like Nemesis form and stuff like that here, so he's like pretty much gonna wipe these people out. So you don't need to Valk here. I think you went to go and... Did you go and res? I think you were like trying to go and res the Tracer there. It's the same thing. At the end of team fights and stuff like that, what's it called? You don't need to heal. Just leave that for after your Valk, because then you'll get extra ult charge. Just a little bonding moment with like the Baptiste and everything here. I feel as though we're kind of missing out on the main objective, which is like the team fight that's going on. But I love this little bonding moment that you're having. I thought it ended. Love it. No, it's alright. So I think if your team didn't push it forward and just left it, because, so this is the thing with push. The majority of the time, if there's like 10 seconds left and you've just like won a team fight, do not be pushing this robot forward. Like tell your team, don't push it forward, right? Because they're gonna have to like bring all this distance from, what's it called, from spawn. They're gonna have to walk all the way from spawn all the way over here, right? If you push it forward, you'll reduce that distance for them, and you're making a last fight scenario, which you don't need to whatsoever. But anyways, that's obviously not your fault. You could have just ended up, what's it called? That's more like a generic thing for like everyone, basically. Needs to damage boost here a little bit more. And we win the game. So, I'm going to be honest, Shining. You are very, very tunnel visioned on your tank. I think there was only twice that I saw that you fully took acknowledgement of your Ashe and enabled your Ashe. The whole part of Mercy is to be able to enable people, specifically DPS. I think a lot of the time you should have been with your Ashe. I think if you stayed with your Ashe a little bit more, it would have helped with your positioning and your survivability a little bit more, and it would have helped you kind of position a little bit better. Specifically with the last fight that we did just before you had your little bonding moment with the BAP. If you played up with that higher ground and stayed with the Ashe and let her kind of like shoot down and stuff like that, I think definitely just play back, damage boost the Ashe up there, and then, you know, do that. I look at my next games, yes. I think overall, like, your mechanics seem really, really good. Like, especially when you're escaping. Like, if you're, like, going for, like, an escape, you are so, so good. Like, honestly, your movement's really, really good. And you know the safe spots. So apply that to your actual, like, team fights and apply that to your actual games and stuff like that. I'm trying to think. So obviously just that blue beam. Yeah, blue beam in general, I feel as though you can push it a little bit more than what you're doing. Just mainly when people like above half HP but they're not fully HP, like in Valks for example, you're pushing healing a lot more than you were damage boost, so be sure just to push that a little bit more. But overall, a very, very strong VOD, Shining, honestly. I feel as though your positioning is good, but there are better places where you can be as well. And yeah, I hope that helps, Shining. Thank you as well for everyone that's like stuck around for it. Once again, you can get your own VOD views for 10,000 channel points on my Twitch. You can simply just sit and lurk, or you come and say hi to my lovely community over here. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all later.